I cried so much that day, just listened to the music. I remember I sat, I stood, I rested my head on the stereo, and I just cried like a baby.
You be paranoid, you think, cause I know how niggas is. When you in the streets and you hustling, you know how niggas is, cause you was one of them niggas, you know what I'm saying? You on the corner, you trying to get your money, you see a nigga roll a Vine, a Benz or a Beamer, you know what I'm saying? You're like, fuck that nigga, you know what I'm saying? Fuck, I murder that nigga, I rob that nigga, you know what I'm saying? Now,
Prior to 13 years of age, he was just a son that any mother would like. At 13, he became notorious.
And then when I started doing the music and I started like slipping shit out in the music.
In a locked garage in Brooklyn, years after his death, not a rumor, not a fan theory. Actual crates, sealed notebooks, unheard tapes, even a Lexus that hadn't been touched since the 90s. And inside, a musical time capsule so powerful it could rewrite everything we thought we knew about Biggie Smalls. From unfinished bars to secret scholarships, this isn't just a story, it's a revelation. Let's unlock the vault. It's 1998, 14 months after Biggie's funeral. His mother, Valletta Wallace, shows up at a quiet garage on St. James Place. Not alone. She's flanked by lawyers, locksmiths, and a Bad Boy Records rep. The padlock snaps, the door rolls up. And what they find? Not memorabilia, but a literal vault of unreleased art. 31 crates, 20 labeled sessions, 4 left completely blank. In the back, a tarped Lexus GS 300, the very one Biggie name dropped in Hypnotize. Inside those crates, studio-grade master tapes, rough vocals, unreleased tracks with titles like Brooklyn Undefeated and Secret Beat with Stevie J. Engineers held their breath. One mistake during playback, and history could vanish forever. But what they heard? Raw, bold, and nothing like the commercial Biggie we knew. Cadences that dared triplets, choirs behind verses, jokes mid-take. This wasn't Biggie the rapper. This was Biggie, the genius in process. Now, the Lexus. You thought it was just a car. Wrong. Hidden beneath the back seat, a USB box. Inside, 3 spiral notebooks, receipts, and a manila envelope. But this wasn't about luxury. This was legacy.
I cried so much that day, just listened to the music. I remember I sat, I stood, I rested my head on the stereo, and I just cried like a baby. And that was therapy for me. And I said, oh my God, that was a talented young man to put those words together. And he had a beautiful voice. I love his voice and the way he came off. You know, I appreciated him as an artist and as my son.
Biggie had sketched out scholarship plans, $5,000 grants for Brooklyn high school students studying audio engineering, essay required, demo tape needed. He even partnered with FUBU for community basketball clinics. And guess what? The receipts were real. Checks written, donations made. Biggie wasn't just rhyming for wealth, he was building hope. With the notebooks in hand, Valletta Wallace took action. What began in a dusty garage became the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation. Workshops, scholarships, back-to-school drives, recording studio access for local teens. All done quietly, all inspired by a vision Biggie never got to finish, but started writing anyway. But not all stories stay locked up. In 1999, an unreleased track leaked online. Raw vocals, no polish. Biggie's voice unmistakable. Turns out, a junior engineer copied the file to impress a friend. That friend shared it, and the internet exploded. The estate could have sued. Instead, they doubled down on protection and unity. Even Tupac's estate joined forces to shut down false rumors. For once, East and West stood together. By the mid-2000s, the world was changing, and so was the way we listened to music. CDs were fading, Napster had cracked Pandora's box, and for the Wallace estate, the question wasn't if Biggie's vault would go digital. It was how to do it without losing his soul. So, they made a bold move. not a remix, not a deluxe album, but Flow, an interactive digital timeline created in partnership with Microsoft Research. Picture this: a sleek slider lets you scroll through Biggie's evolution. Slide to 1993, hear grimy freestyle loops in a neighbor's basement. Jump to 1995, hear layered vocals from Ready to Die. Move to 1997 and feel the polished sonic weight of Life After Death. Each clip, 30 seconds or less. Just enough to educate, not enough to be exploited. No leaks, no gimmicks, just pure, authenticated sound. This wasn't nostalgia, it was curation. Then came the museum moment. In 2007, to mark 10 years since Life After Death, the Wallace estate partnered with the Brooklyn Museum. And what rolled up out front? The Lexus GS 300, the very one pulled from that garage. Odometer low, symbolism high. Inside the museum, scholarship alumni from the Christopher Wallace Memorial Foundation ran demo stations. They taught high schoolers about stem mastering, multi-track isolation, and EQ balance. Teenagers, some from the very neighborhoods Biggie came from, were learning how his music was made so they could make their own. Biggie's garage, it had become a classroom. As engineers combed through the final contents of Biggie's Lexus, something unexpected emerged. A cassette tape, unmarked, no label, no scribbled title, just silence, then static. And then Biggie's voice, raw, unfiltered, unrehearsed. He wasn't rapping. He was talking to the engineer, to the room, to the future. If the schools ain't got no boards, we'll buy boards. This ain't about tax write-offs. This is love. Let that sit for a second.
Talking said, if you do not apologize to me and tell me you love me, I'm not gonna hang up this phone. Sure. And I hang up my phone. And I swear, maybe about an hour or two after, I picked up my phone. Nothing. Hello? Hello? What are you doing on my phone? I said. I told you I wasn't gonna hang up this phone. I said, were you on this phone? Yes, I was. And I looked, no, this jackass was not on this phone all this. I said, no, I need to make a telephone. Not until you say you're sorry. And say you love me. You know, but you have to say it. Okay, Christopher, I love you. Isn't that easy? You let me sit here, fall asleep, wake up, and all you had to do was to tell me you love me. And this would not have happened. Okay, Christopher, get off the phone. That's when you got off the phone.
This wasn't the swaggering Biggie from MTV. This was Christopher Wallace, father, son, visionary, laying out a blueprint for a better Brooklyn. Inside those notebooks, he didn't sketch out record deals or jewelry purchases. He drew scholarship guidelines. He listed GPA requirements. He planned essay prompts. He even doodled microphones next to dollar signs like it was a dream he couldn't let go of. He wrote, I want to leave music nobody can flip. Money for my kids and hope for the block. This wasn't clout chasing. This was legacy engineering. And the more you look, the clearer it becomes. Those unreleased tracks weren't leftovers. They were love letters. To his city, to his son, to every kid growing up thinking they had two options, ball or bars. Biggie was building a third option, studio doors instead of prison bars, scholarships instead of street corners. Even the Christopher Wallace Memorial Fund, officially launched by his mom, wasn't some afterthought. It was his plan, in his handwriting, in his words. And that's the real message in the music. It wasn't about chasing fame, it was about lifting others, even after he was gone. Biggie didn't just leave behind rhymes, he left a roadmap. So what do you think? Should more of this music be released? Or should it stay sacred, sealed for preservation, not profit? Let us know in the comments below. And if you believe Biggie's legacy was more than just bars, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because next time, we're diving into the truth behind Tupac's prison tapes. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Long live the king, long live the legacy.